I decided to start Influence to Equity because I took notice that I was the only Black voice in the room.
I was a photographer on red carpets, but I didn't study cinema. I didn't study acting. I'd been publishing these short form videos for like a year.
Zero Lifestyle is a media company. I'm on the internet every single day. I start talking, I make a video, I give my thoughts.
People think I have this background. My background is really academic. It's actually really scientific.
I don't have a specific niche that I fall into, but I'm really damn good at what I do, and it's allowed me to enter film. It's allowed me to be a voice on boards. Joy Ofodu is a talented voice actor and creator known for her engaging content and vibrant personality. As the host of the podcast Dating Unsettled, she explores the complexities of modern dating, encouraging listeners to challenge societal norms and embrace their unique story. Joy's journey began at a young age, fueled by her passion for performance and storytelling. With a background in marketing from her time at Instagram, Joy has successfully built a community of over 300,000 followers across various platforms. Her work spans voice acting for major brands like Disney and Dove, as well as creating comedic content that resonates with audience like myself. Joy's mission is to heal through humor and foster connection. Known for her authentic storytelling and unwavering commitment to inclusion, she inspires others to embrace their power and make a difference in their communities. Joy's work exemplifies the transformative potential of influence, making her the perfect fit for today's discussion. Joy, welcome to Influence to Equity.
Thanks, Sarah. I'm happy to be here. That's so nice the way you described me. Aww.
You are everything, girl. You need your flowers. I've been giving it.
Appreciate it.
Joy, I think about like all of our journeys and how we've gotten to where we are, but I think it's important to peel back the layers because people, founders, creators will see us at a step 30, step 70.
Right.
Like, oh, how come I'm not there? Or no, it worked for her because look at what she's doing.
Yeah.
When they don't realize, oh, at the beginning it was rough.
Sure.
What was that first stepping stone that got you to decide, you know what, creativity is going to be for me?
That's so funny. I mean, as you kind of mentioned, like a young age. The young age was like 5.
Oh, you've known early.
Yeah, I told my parents I wanted to be an entertainer. I wanted to be an actress. I was dancing and like in ballet, tap and jazz at like age 3 to 6, right? But like was sure that I wanted to be a performer. Signed to my first agent at 10. Agent was a scammer, and this was like in the Bay Area. Then signed to a legitimate agent right thereafter. Booked my first pilot. And then went into community theater throughout school. And I was in public school with like 2 little siblings. So my parents were not the pack up and we're going to move across the country to focus on one child's talent parents, which is fine. That's very fair and reasonable. Yeah. They were like, you're going to do whatever acting is accessible to you. You know, I won a California-wide acting competition, but still it felt like Hollywood was inaccessible and out of reach. So I decided to go to college at USC.
Smart.
Yep. And I studied communication, funny enough. I didn't study cinema. I didn't study acting. Like people think I have this background. My background is really academic. It's actually really scientific. I went into technology as a marketing scientist. And I worked at Instagram, which is incredible. But years later, you know, quit. And so for the past few years, I have been pushing boundaries and like leading, which is really fun as a CEO of my own entertainment company. I've reached 60 million people or more with my bunnies alone. Like
how is that a real thing? Isn't that crazy?
It's a real thing. But so yeah, the journey, when you say like, oh, it was rough at the beginning. I mean, I've gone through evolutions of creativity. I started as, you know, a student intern social media. I was a photographer on red carpets, you know, covered the NAACP Image Awards and was able to photograph folks from Anne Hathaway to Kerry Washington, to capturing, you know, content for folks on carpets, and then getting a little bit more creative with it, doing some consulting projects when I was still in college for like significant brands, you know, like CPG brands that are in stores and entertainment companies. And then I kind of just shirked away. Like I made a decision. You know, we tell ourselves like little lies. I told myself that I was the marketer. I was the business person to empower other entertainers and other filmmakers. There were other people who were way more talented at acting and way more talented at filmmaking than I was, and that it was my job to just kind of sit back and like make that happen for them.
Wow.
And so crazy how you can decide things that are entirely wrong, you know? And I was earning like high earning in this field. Right. I wanted to do what would make me the most money in a super uncertain economy. which is not a bad idea, by the way.
So it's a great idea.
Great idea.
And people are like, leave your corporate job.
Yeah, I'm like,
Entrepreneurship. Don't.
I stacked up, tens of thousands of dollars. I got a grant from AT&T that finally, a couple years into making short form comedy videos, maybe 15 million views in, allowed me to formally form my business in California. And then from there began hiring freelancers to really scale what I was doing. So for the past few years, like I'm now a professional voice actor. I'm in video games, podcasts, commercials, music, movies, TV. Like it's insane. I've been able to touch every category, but really just try to stay grounded. So yeah, I'm happy. Like I'm really successful right now. But it's not, I wouldn't say that it started as a struggle. I would say it started as just an exploration, going from photography and social media mediums that are very behind camera, behind scenes, behind this barrier on the red carpet. I joked that like literally at a red carpet junket, I used to be on the other side.
Yeah.
And now I'm walking on the talent side, which is always, and I bumped into you over there. I remember Candy K Lane. So it's always so funny for me because I'm like, oh, I was just on that other side. One side is not worse than the other.
Mm-hmm.
Being behind the scenes to empower Black filmmakers is not worse than being or a step under being a Black filmmaker. It's just a step that I took to kind of figure out what type of artist I wanted to be at the time.
It's fascinating that you mentioned it because my intent was never to be in front of the camera.
Oh.
Unless I was a reporter, because I went to school for journalism. I thought I'd be a sports reporter. I thought that, or like an entertainment reporter.
Yeah.
And then I thought that those days were done. And so I thought that my purpose would be to be behind the camera. And so to see myself now in the front as an influencer and talent was never the intent. My intent was to be behind the camera. And so now that I get to do actually both, now as an EP and a producer on films and on some television sets, and then doing the red carpets, you're right. There's not, one isn't more difficult or worse than the other. I enjoy both mediums and we have the right to explore that. But I want to go back to something real quick.
Okay, I like going back.
So you are Nigerian.
Yes.
I'm Ethiopian.
Yes.
I find it so fascinating how supportive your parents were endeavors because like I'm 37.
Yeah.
My parents were not going to move across the country. However, my parents were very supportive of me being curious and sports and joining clubs and all that stuff.
Absolutely.
However, you had to go to college.
Yep.
And it was nurse, doctor, lawyer.
And
then you could do whatever you want.
And we have this conversation all the time. For me, my story, my parents were supportive, yes, but constructive.
Yes.
You see?
Hooked.
So there was no just pure go. You can be an actor. You can be a dancer. You can be a singer. We support you being a pop star. Like it wasn't, that wasn't the narrative. The narrative was, we know you're talented at acting, but you can act at any time, right? Yeah. You could join a play. You could do, they showed me community theater, right? Which is an amazing way to participate in your gifts. Like, again, it's not to say that there's levels or something. We know that you could do this at any time and be an artist. We don't want you to go to school for that because we know your brain is capable of, in their eyes, so much more, right? I think you could just be read as so much different, right? My parents didn't grow up with acting in Hollywood, right? Being a stable industry that many people can get guaranteed success or even likely success.
Yeah.
That's their problem, right? It's not that they think it's demeaning or we don't do that or blah, blah, blah. Their thing was just, will my daughter be able to put a roof over her head and food on her table? And they raised me as a woman to be independent, which I really appreciate. Both my mother and my father raised me to have my own money, and get my own thing going on. So interestingly, they were supportive. They invested in me participating in extracurriculars from a young age. My dad was super cautious about the entertainment industry because of, he's an avid news watcher, the things he would learn and see long before the documentaries we have now to understand how harmful, like, unsupervised minors can be and how harmful the industry can be to unsupervised minors in entertainment. My dad was very nervous about me being a minor in that space. And so his kind of thing was, why don't you wait till later? Mom's thing was, okay, who's asking us to pay for what? And like I mentioned, eventually we ran into trouble that, my dad was like, I saw it, So they were encouraging. We did run into some roadblocks, but eventually that support shifted to, well, let's support you getting your education, getting something else that acting you could always do if you wanted.
Yeah.
But science, right, is like what you should focus on. My science of choice was not the doctor, was not the lawyer, was not the engineer. I was like, I'm going to go into marketing because this is what I love to do. I'm good at it. And I feel like I can make money in it. And then they kind of guided me towards the Silicon Valley and towards technology and towards Instagram even. And so I excelled there. It was my dream corporate job. I always tell people, I'm like, make no mistake, I loved my job. I don't have the story of like I was in a dead-end job and I hated it and it was stifling me and my creativity. I was speaking. I was one of Instagram's most famous employees, I think, right? If you're going to use the word favor, most known in the industry. When people thought about women breaking into tech or Black women in tech, I was in that conversation and I was young. This is like a couple years after being able to, go to a bar. Like we're talking about straight out of college. So they were supportive. I think, funny enough, they were supportive of my like efforts and endeavors with the company. They did not agree that I should quit my job at the time that I did. So no, they were like, why don't you make 5 times more than what you're making at work in your business before you quit? I thought that was the wrong advice because I started to measure started to measure the opportunity cost of what I was leaving on the table by not quitting my job. So I created a YouTube series called I Quit My Job at Instagram to explain to people how I made that calculation, what I put in my letter of resignation, just all of it, how I made that decision. My parents are supportive of me. They're really happy to see me in this role in the company. They love when I get a brand deal, they like, or when I get a role or a gig that they can hear. I played them a radio commercial I did for Progressive, like they love to hear things like that. But yeah, they were cautiously, constructively supportive.
That's a great way to put it. I want to have to go back and call my parents because that's how they were and still are very supportive.
Yeah.
They're like, how are you going to pay that mortgage? Like,
which is good.
And how, like, are you okay? Like, this still to this day. They have no idea what to do for a living. I called my mom the other day on my way to the Forbes event. I called my mom to check in because I talk to her every day. And she's like, oh, what are you doing? I'm heading to the Forbes thing. She's like, oh, okay. Well, I called you this morning, but you were busy. I was like, oh, I was, working on this film thing that I'm a new marketing client. And she's like, okay. Anyway, your dad said.
They don't get it. And my dad calls it the eyeball business, which I think is cute because he does get it. Because once I broke it down to him, like it was so random. He comes to me, he's like, so I was actually going through your comment. My dad, he's on Instagram putting up, but he's not like an avid, he uses it for his own devices. He's not trying to keep up with the Joneses. Yeah. My dad said, I went through your comments. These people are really telling you, like, just, you encourage me and you're so funny and da-da-da. He's like, and I'm seeing the likes. It's thousands. Like, once his brain really started to comprehend millions of people are watching and could recognize my daughter on the street and, like, do stop her, he laughs. Like, he finds it so like, he cracked up. We were at the dinner table and he laughed for like 30 minutes straight. One of his favorite videos of mine is like a news reporter character.
Yeah. Oh, that's my favorite.
I did it. Thank you. I did that live in front of him. I was at Jasmine, my sister's Spelman kind of family weekend or whatever. Yeah. And so we're over at Spelman. I do the video in front of him. He was like, that's so silly. Posted it. And when he saw that it got like over 1 million views, maybe over 2 million, he was rolling. He's like, I saw you make that. So sometimes they just kind of need to come to work with you and experience it. But he gets it and he calls it the eyeball business. Companies and clients, they pay me because I can bring the eyeballs to their stuff. Oh, I got eyeballs on me. So we're just diverting them from me or joy or my story of the day or blah, blah, blah to your product or to your service or your experience. And that's what he always jokes, that I'm in the eyeball business. I'm like, yeah, it's a pretty good way of describing it all around.
I'm going to have to borrow that because that's actually pretty genius because that is what we do. I think about the first picture that I uploaded and I think it was March of 2014. And I went back to read my caption like a week ago. And it was something like, I'm really scared to be here, but I'm taking the leap of faith to do this.
That's good.
And then the way that my career has progressed, there's been, like you mentioned earlier, several evolutions of who Sarah is. I was married, divorced, never took anybody on that journey. I have children. You'll never see them on the internet. I moved across the country. I barely talked about it. The thing that I love about you, and I think it's something really important for people who are listening to understand, is there's no right or wrong way to do this thing. Like, success comes in so many different forms.
Absolutely.
I've chosen a very private life while still being public, which is kind of a strange combination.
Oh, yeah.
But what I love about what you did, and it's what I tell clients all the time and founders who come to my business, is I think it's important, even if you're in corporate, to have a brand. I think it's really, really important for you to have a footprint somewhere and not allow other people to create the narrative for you. But what most people are afraid of is, I'm boring, I don't have anything to share. But you decided to share one of these altering, transformative moments of your life leaving corporate.
Oh, yeah. Right. Which some people would be private about.
Because I want to tell nobody.
I think because I was already known, right? Like I said, like in the technology space, when I would go to Afrotech or conferences, people know, oh, you're Joy from Instagram. I follow you. I watch your videos, or thanks for giving me advice about how to advance. I was giving workshops at companies about like being in the workplace, but I would just give these workshops and people would recognize me. So I'm like, they're already in the story. I was building a public presence. I hadn't imagined, I don't know. I was like a woman in tech influencer, right? And I was working at Instagram, on Instagram, scaling Instagram. So it became naturally like my favorite platform. Me and privacy, I mean, it's weird. I don't want to be stalked physically. Yeah. I want you to find me. So I'm oddly dodgy and people, oh, where do you live? You know,
in Canada.
Exactly. Hey, you know, so it's like I'm private about something. I can be private about medical. I can be private about financials. In my relationship, as funny and as public as people went on, millions of people followed as I found love. And then even as I'm with my boyfriend, they still consume videos. Things that he does. Like, he has no idea how even famous he is. We'll be at like a festival or something. Literally, we've been at multiple music festivals. Yvonne, I'm like, oh, what? You know.
Why do you know me?
Yeah, and he's so scared. He's like, why do you? And they're just like, well, I know you through Joy, but I feel like I know you. I'm sorry. You know. Okay. And he's just like, that's the weirdest thing in the world. So it's cute. But I am private, too, about like our relationship, the things we go through. Yeah. Yes, I have a dating podcast. Yes, you know, I share about my journey. Yes, it was on Good Morning America. Doesn't mean everybody knows every intimate detail. Yeah. So that's why I decided to share, is because it's like, why not? You're already here. Yeah. I just feel, for me also, it's about, you want more science?
Yes. Give us the science.
Cognitive dissonance.
Yes.
Cognitive dissonance can loosely describe the phenomenon where you are like thinking one thing and doing another, right? It's a dissonance that's created in your brain between what you want to carry out and what you're actually carrying out, or what you're thinking, what you're feeling, what you're doing, and just dissonance, right? It's not sonant. So like cognitive dissonance happens within your thoughts. And I thought I can kind of avoid cognitive dissonance in my life. I don't know. I decided this in like college or something. I can avoid cognitive dissonance in my life by being really truthful and honest with myself and with others, and by being super transparent, so that there aren't multiple versions of me that are being presented in different spaces, multiple joys, multiple stories, private truths, public truths. I'm just Joy. I may speak, I may not, but like I'm really me everywhere. So from you to folks who would meet me on another set, to friends who have known me, you know, for a long time, to friends I just meet, to my doctor, everybody will give you pretty much the same impression of me. You know, like some people might be like, oh, she was, you know, a bit more buttoned up or da-da-da, but everyone will give you the same impression because I'm just me. So that's what's easiest. It's good on the brain. It's good for the body to just be you and to share. I think that's what's weird. I think I was always that. Nah, there's photos of me as a child, literally like hands spread. I was always a show and tell. If there's show and tell, I will show you and I will tell you. You know, like I was always that kid. So when people say like, how do you find the courage to be so, I've never known anything else. This is my default comfort.
So let's fast forward a little bit. You're sharing your story. You decide you're going to become. Wait, why was that so good though?
Because I'm a voice hoster.
Just showed up. That was crazy.
She said fast forward.
That was. Yeah, whatever Missy said. So fast forward, and you decide you're going full time. You're going to take the leap of faith, which, by the way, I view as someone who's looking to be a full-time content creator. Yeah. This is the most exhilarating, exciting, you can make a ton of money, but also the most challenging, unstable experience of your life. It's such a roller coaster. Like, you can be all the way up there and still come down this, like a month later, you can go up.
You can make $100,000 in 1 month and zero the next.
It's the wildest journey.
It's insane.
It's the ultimate mind effort. It has such, like, it will screw with you if you're not, you know, if you financial literacy and all that stuff.
Don't watch out for your cost of living. Correct. Live a frugal lifestyle. Yeah, all those things.
It works. So you decide to go full time. You take the leap of faith, and then the one topic that I've always stayed away from, and I don't know what it is because I have a lot of thoughts. So maybe this is the right episode for me to talk about.
What is it?
Is dating and relationships. Why have that conversation?
Wait, why have it publicly? Like what you think about it? Well, that's my whole thing, as you know. It's my whole MO. I was staring at the blank page, right? Like before me. Yeah. And I opened up this like dirty window. Yeah. Right. And I was just like, I want to let the sun illuminate the words that you cannot find.
I'm so there's something in the distance. I need you to stop,
You
please.
take me so seriously. I love it. I was like, oh, she's still here. She's still with me. So why talk about dating a relationship?
Yeah, because it's like
For me,
it's such a shit show. Like
it is.
it-
Well, I rebuke it. I rebuked that feeling. I rebuked that truth. I told you we tell ourselves lies all the time. This is hard to talk about, but like, of course, okay, it's the truth. It can be the truth of your experience that you're having a rough time dating. And it was true for me. I had a breakup after a multi-year relationship that I did not see coming until it happened. And then, funny enough, after it happened, stress, blah, 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 thinking, well, I became okay with it rather quickly. I'm oddly like this with things in my life where I understand some things come to an end. I guess it wasn't this like drawn out fight. It wasn't this like unhealthy back and forth that some people can have with their exes. It was just, hey, you were my first boyfriend. Now we're no longer together. Wish you all the best. And we're both going to move on. So I was excited. I was excited to really take a chance to like dream up the future of the next healthy partnership that I would be in.
Yeah.
Right? Partnership for me, I've always been like a really romantic, even as a kid.
Yeah.
Like I was a romantic kid. I had romantic ideas. I see the world optimistically and romantically. So it was really like a no-brainer of like, hey, what am I going to talk about? We just launched Reels. I was still at the company at the time. And I'm like, okay, I'm an actor, I'm a performer. I have something to say. I have a unique voice. Why not talk about dating? It's the biggest thing that has happened emotionally for me in my life. It's the thing I feel most excited about. There were some obvious concerns. Like if you are sharing about dating online or you're even telling people this is what I want in a relationship, is somebody going to find that content and begin to perform those things and like mask themselves as people can do,
Right.
and perform that for you? Of course, that's like a fear, but I just believe in God. I really do. I was like, no matter what I do or put out there, God's going to connect me with the person for me, with the man for me. So I went about it that way.
Yeah.
I started publishing videos. People started catching on. They would say, like, Joy, you were saying the things, that I'm feeling. You're validating me. You were
The stuff that I want
you
to
were
say.
with me. You were really with me during the pandemic, like on that journey.
I was newly divorced.
So I was sharing these things.
I was 18. I was like, yes, okay, this is.
I need this. And so I like it because that's exactly what it did for women. And sometimes men too, like, oh, you showed me things I hadn't thought about. But what it did for women was like, we're in it. I'm not alone in it.
Yeah.
So I did it to affirm people. I did it as a means of catharsis. Art for me and video creation and expression, whether it's about dating or your situation or your history or your family or whatever, it is catharsis. It is life. Like art is survival. I'm like, I'm getting through a literal pandemic, something I've never lived in my life.
Yeah.
I'm shut in. My heart was broken. And then as you date, your heart gets broken and broken and broken and broken again. Yeah. And I'm sharing it with people who get it. I'm not dropping names. I'm not going to be immature. I'm not going to throw up pictures and say, so I went out with this guy and he is a F-boy and here's why. And it wasn't that. It was, how can I get this out artistically? And funny enough, I feel like it really helped me find my man. Because after a year and a half of doing that, he'd seen the videos, other folks had seen the videos. He hadn't seen before we met. It was like we connected, we had no mutual friends.
Really?
Then he watched the videos. And like, I think the fear, of course, like I said, is someone's going to watch the videos and be like, oh, you're that girl from online who talks about dating, or you're a man basher, you're a man hater.
That's part of what I'm afraid of.
Anybody who saw that, I realized, was not media literate. So I wasn't worried about them.
Yeah.
So about maybe 10 dates in, as people go, oh, I saw your little videos, ha, ha, ha. If you make a joke about it, I make jokes, right? I'm joking about it. That's fine. But like, if I could tell that they were like genuinely insecure or in speaking about what's difficult, you feel attacked. Yeah. That attack is projection, right? Yeah. So you're relating to whatever guy I'm criticizing because you do the same stuff, which means you need to be far from me. Yeah. We're cool. I don't need to worry about impressing men or being the perfect African girl for men that I've never met. Right. Who even after seeing my preferred way of expressing myself would be unattracted to me. Does that make sense? Yeah. So I wasn't worried about repelling anyone. If I repelled somebody, good. If somebody was dating me or talking to me, then they saw the videos and they didn't like it, good. Like, I think that's what you have to realize is that if you want to live your truth and be yourself, and I know I was showing all types of stuff. I'm twerking in my kitchen. I'm going through grad school, emotional moments. When I quit my job and I shared about it on LinkedIn, I think I cried in that video. Crying on LinkedIn is insane. I'm so sorry.
That's a new level unlocked.
At new level. But if you're doing that and you repel somebody who's not for you, you're actually culling the pool. It's the best thing that you could do for yourself to show the world, here is who I am, take me or leave me. So my man, when he met me, he saw the videos, he understood the humor. he's not an F-boy. So he didn't feel attacked, offended, none of that. Yeah. He would critique some videos. Oh, what did you mean by this? Or tell me, he's from Cameroon, like the dating culture and stuff like that is also different. He had questions, sure. His main question he shared with me after we met for the first time, after he took me on these dates, he goes, I wanted to distinguish who's the girl that I'm seeing online and who's Joy the person. I'm not taking what I see online to be the entirety of who you are. Right. And I think there's going to be some overlap, but I see this character that's goofy, he's like, I just want to meet the real you. Mm-hmm. And what you see online is the real me. Yeah. I think you know that. Like over time, it's consistent and goofy and silly. But the soft, gentle, feminine, whatever you want to call it, parts of myself, like those are unlocked by the right person in a private setting. Yeah. Sometimes I'll give you a little snippet, but like that doesn't need to be up there. I don't need to prove to you, right, the internet, that I'm a soft, valid, feminine person. Right. Does that make sense? In order to find healthy partnership. Yeah. So sometimes that's what it feels like because we're women. Like people see our bodies. I've seen your comments. Yeah. They see our bodies. They see our comedy. You feel like, oh, well, if I show him that I'm goofy, I need to show him that I can also be demure because I don't know who he is and where he might come and when he might watch. And it's this fear of the imaginary man. That's the fear, right? It's like, he's going to watch me. He's going to find me. What if he sees something he doesn't like? What if he finds this video and not this one? What if he doesn't see that I can be smart and sexy? What if he doesn't see that I can be cute and Christian? What if he doesn't see... You don't need to worry about that. Worry is a prayer for the devil, somebody said. So I stopped praying to the devil and I instead, just started living and just living in the promise I believe God had for me, that there's somebody out there who will embrace all of me.
I found a Renee. Hey, hello to her man. Say hello, shout out to you.
Love you, babe.
No, it's so funny because my online personality is very different from that is a part of me.
Of course.
But
you're goofy, you're fun, your videos are hilarious.
But I'm also very shy and introverted. And so people don't know that. But then we go to the Forbes events and I am like
pushing yourself to try to
shove it to, and now I've learned enough and developed enough skill sets that I can do that. But it leads me to my next question. So you're talking about dating, leave your corporate job that you love and that you're very successful at.
Thank you.
And then the next question that most people are trying to figure out is, all right, I have an audience. At what point do I have a business? Where do we turn this influence into equity?
You have a business when you have people that want to put, especially let's just talk about influencers because this podcast, I've listened to it. Great. It mostly centers influencers, right? You have a business when you are putting out a product consistently. It's like people don't even realize that they have a viable business. You're in business when, as you put out your regular product, service, or offering, whether that's live streaming, making short form video, community meetups, even your thoughts on Twitter or Threads or whatever it is, you have a business when you're giving a consistent offering to the public or even to a private group of people, subscribers. You're in business when you accept clients, when you accept someone's products or services and you position them or place them or theme them to what you're doing and then offer it back to that audience. So that's when you have a business. And it can happen relatively early. People are like, well, when are you a professional voiceover artist? I'd been publishing these short form videos for like a year that featured me doing funny character voices. Yeah. Right? So people are hearing me do the voices and they're like, oh, she's so funny, man. I love it. Like, she's hilarious. You should take those voices. And like, I can go man, I can go alien, I can go grandma, I can go. And so they were like, this is talent. Do I have a voice business then? Not yet. But then the very first day that I posted, hey, I'm a voiceover artist, and I made a reel and I put it on my channel to my audience, right, as an influencer, the next day I booked a podcast intro outro from the UK. That same week, I booked my first ever now feature film, which is a Solid Power of the Pollinators animated feature film offered like that week. And people don't understand, like, that's how quickly your influencer equity, you can leverage it and turn it into a business. You have a paid client, you're in business. That's when you have a business.
I don't think, or I don't believe that most people understand that. I remember there's a company whose board I sit on, and he went to go raise to a guy from the VC says to him is, how do you plan on marketing this? And the gentleman says, well, I'm going to use influencer marketing. And the guy tells him that influencer marketing is dead.
Man, Dad, everybody want to say it's dead because they're jealous, because they don't like that we make It's not even easy. When people be like, oh, they make money so easily. They don't like that we are able to make money with our talents and not have to go through some of the struggles or hoops of either working for or owning a large and traditional corporation. There are people who will be upset and jealous. And sorry to interrupt you during your question, but there will be people who will be jealous of the equity that you're able to build in just being a followed personality online because they misperceive it to be extremely easy to manage and profit from. I can make and do make much more money in a shorter amount of time per project than I did when I was a salaried employee at a corporation, right?
Facts.
And that's what people see. But what they're not seeing is what I'm doing to maintain and sustain that equity over time, the 20 plus different roles that I play, the different areas of expertise, and then just even competence that I need to maintain. It's over 20 as a CEO, a creator CEO of my own entertainment company.
Yeah.
You know, I do global communications, literally global around the world. I'm a producer. I'm a director. I'm a writer. I'm an artist. I'm an actor. I'm a talent scout. I'm a casting director. I'm often legal or business affairs for my business. I can be, you know, a page or an assistant. I'm doing set design. I'm doing social media. I do my own audio engineering on the voiceovers that I do. I'm my own business manager and setting a financial vision and strategy for the brand, right? So you are every single role and the assistant to every single role as a solopreneur and creator CEO. And so when people say influencer marketing is dead, it's absolutely not. It's just something trendy. It's something to get clicks on a news article. Is influencer marketing dead? Is the creator economy bubble going to burst? Is da-da-da? These are huge questions. It's not going to end. We're not going to all of a sudden rush and shift to traditional advertising on radio and television, which is still going, by the way, and radio is in millions of homes. Do not get it twisted. I love radio. I'm on the radio right now.
Yes.
You can hear me in multiple commercials. But it's like, we're not going to shift like this to all the traditional forms of media being the only or primary, you know, growing media bag in the mix because some guy's like, is influencer marketing dead? I think people need to realize that questions being asked equals not an actual economic trend. And if you analyze economic trends, what you're seeing is that more creators are able to sustain more of a living. They're earning higher. Most creators don't earn like above 100K or, you know, what you would consider to be like financial success or whatever. America and its obsession with 100K we could get into because you know how much you have to spend also even when you are earning.
And we live in California, which is basically 36 cents.
100K is 36 cents. Please quote that, put it on a t-shirt. But yeah, at the end of the day, I do believe the creator economy is growing. Influencer marketing is growing. I've earned more money in my entertainment company, in my business over time. And the primary driver of revenue in my business, I've like not been shy about this at all, is sponsored content. And it's growing every year.
Yeah.
I get invited for more and more deals or more deals with the same partners. We deepen our relationships. We extend the mix. We start to add events. We start to add, you know, different activations. Who knows? In the next couple of years, you might see products, you know, coming from me or other branded services than what I already offer coming from other companies. Like it's super exciting and it is growing.
I posted this thing on Threads recently where
Love Threads.
I said, so do I. It's probably the one place where I'm the most honest with my thoughts. And it's still very filtered, but it's the most honest like I am with my thoughts. But I keep running into influencers, and actually this happened yesterday at actually I probably shouldn't timestamp this, but when we were at the Forbes creator event where I was having these conversations with influencers who think that they're just an influencer. And I'm like, no, you are a media company. Please act accordingly.
Yeah.
And
Unless you don't want to.
True. But it's like,
believe that you could be. And
but
like,
you can be. And we are, like, Sarah Lifestyle is a media company. I'm on the internet every single day. The second I start talking, I make a video, I give my thoughts, the ability for us to then expand into not just social media, and then expand into TV and television and film.
As I have.
As you have and as we both have.
Games.
There's so much more. What do we tell influencers, what do we tell creators who don't understand that the expansion of their mind and their thoughts of what they think their brand is, like the world truly, I mean, it sounds cliche, but the world really is our oyster. There is no like ceiling, but you can expand to other verticals because people will say, oh, you know, have a niche, have a specific niche, have a specific topic that you talk about, which I understand they say, you know, riches are in the niches. However,
that's cute.
That's not always the truth. I don't have a specific niche that I fall into.
Okay.
But I'm really damn good at what I do. And it's allowed me to enter film. It's allowed me to be a voice on boards. It's allowed me to go into venture capital. It's allowed me to make very expensive decisions on other people's behalves, all from influence. So why was it important for you to then go from being an influencer to now being a full-out media company
Yeah, and an actor.
and an actor and every other sector?
It's less so that I need to prove a point or show people or tell people that this is possible.
Yeah.
I'm just doing what I want to do.
I know that's right.
I'm doing what I take pleasure in.
Yeah.
I'm doing what I enjoy.
Yeah.
And so this is me. This is where my academic curiosity lies. This is where my passions are. Baby Joy wanted to do this. And she tried to get in the traditional way. As you saw, I did the pilots, I did the auditions, did traditional acting, community theater, and it just wasn't viable for me culturally or physically at the time. So then Baby Joy went another way, and she became Teenage Joy and then, young adult Joy, inadvertently ended up building, when she attracted millions of people to a social account, is she built this thing that would allow her to get easier and louder knock on the door to some of these casting offices, and then realize that, if I am accepting tens or hundreds of thousands of dollars in business, that makes me a CEO. That makes me an entrepreneur. I didn't launch the company going, what I want to be is an entrepreneur. I said, well, what I want to do is, and how I want to make people feel is, and the countries I'd like to travel to and work in are. And so in order to do that, then yes, you must become a media company, or you must own a media company. I mean, media is just one way to go about it. Considering yourself a media producer, you could consider yourself a wellness company, an entertainment company, consider yourself a game designer. It fully depends on what, again, product and service you are putting out. Somebody who does, food reviews, they don't have to consider themselves a media company. They could be, a culinary food reviewer and then just establish, you can look to traditional business models. What I would say, look to traditional business models and titles and names for influence. But what you're building is completely brand new. As long as people are paying you, as long as you have clients and you have an audience that trusts you, then you're in business. And it really doesn't matter what you call that business or what your niche is. I do have a niche. I mean, dating, comedy is a niche. Yeah, sure. Comedy, dating is another vertical or niche. Dating comedy is a subgenre of comedy. It's a subgenre of dating. And then being an actor, I guess you could consider, is a subgenre of entertainment. It's a subgenre of personalities. I'm all the things. Some people who have tried to squeeze me into boxes, I've literally been told, well, you can't say you're all those things. You have to pick one so that people can understand you. If you come to me and you say I'm a da-da-da, and it's true, the human brain can only remember 5 to 7 things at one time when you put labels like that. I did see on someone's thing, they were actor, writer, creator. I'm we ain't remembering all that. That's facts.
Yeah.
But what you realize is you can be all the things at once. You just don't need to tell everybody on every platform and in every place what you are.
Right.
It doesn't make sense for you to walk into the boardroom and say I'm a model. Not always.
No.
And that's fine. People want to be well, be all the things and take them everywhere and have all the bios. Each bio that I provide is curated to each event that I do in each room I walk into.
The last 2 days, I was a creator. Nothing else.
Yeah.
Someone asked, then I'm also...
You say, yeah,
I'm a founder.
Yeah, I'm a creator.
And then if
I'm a
they
founder.
ask, then I continue to give.
Yeah.
But in most cases, depending on the room, you're right.
Yes.
The bio that I give. And I have 7 bio shows.
You should. And so that's my advice to creators is yes, be all the things. Yes, launch your company however you like. But you don't need to tell everybody and on every platform in every room and this and this and this and that. Take that as a personal point of pride and have some humility as well, right? So as not to overwhelm people. Yeah. And when you're focused, I can remember, if somebody goes, Joy, I need a curvy model. You're one of the first people that I think of. If they say to me, Joy, I need an on-camera talent. Do you know anybody? Because you've been posting videos about that recently and I want to do more on. Yeah, I have an interview. I'm not free, but you can ask Sarah because that's recency and what you're making available for me in my mind. Yeah. The other stuff, I'm vaguely aware that you're doing it, but right. So the public note, everybody who needs to know what I do knows what I do and what value I can drive for them in business. Yeah. And so I'm happy to be in business in this way. It's going to shift and evolve, but that's my advice. Be all the things, but just be them selectively in different places, which might go against my cognitive dissonance thing. But again, as long as you're honest to yourself about all the things that you are, it doesn't matter.
Exactly. What do you find to be, or what have you found to be the most challenging parts of entrepreneurship and being a creator?
I really ran into a rut recently, and it wouldn't look like a rut. That's the thing. Like even Jordan, creator, peer, Jordan the Stallion, right? He talked about, he's like, yeah, I'm up there and you guys see the platform getting bigger and it's millions of people, but I still have anxiety. I developed interesting anxiety. I think the first and most challenging part of being a startup owner, startup founder, media company owner is the financial anxiety.
Yeah.
As opposed to when you're a marketer managing a company's budget and you go, hey, if this doesn't work, well, they got billions more.
Yeah.
Right. This isn't that. Your resources are extremely limited. Your opportunities are unlimited, but your resources are limited.
Yeah.
So the financial anxiety of both, how much should I spend on this? Who should I hire? What is the ROI that I'm going to get out of each investment? Definitely stressed me out a little bit. You can have all the education in the world. I got a master's degree, to be able to do P&L sheets and understand what I'm doing in the business. You'll still be anxious making the decision. Taking on home ownership at the same time as launching a podcast and announcing to the world that I'm taking this business thing, doing that at the same time was crazy anxiety inducing. So I think that's literally the most challenging part. I would like to say that a couple years into owning the business that I'm no longer financially anxious.
Yeah.
That's not the case.
No.
I'm extremely financially conscious.
Yeah.
And I'm making every effort to future-proof my business to be able to set it up to where when I begin having children, which is like hopefully next couple of years, and start my family, like I'm building something that can grow and shift and that can be an element of it and that I can provide for my family alongside my partner. I've always envisioned myself this way. This makes me really unpopular in some of these women dating spaces, whatever, because I'm like, no, I'm going to be a woman who like works for what she has and provides for myself and my littles. My daughter comes up to me and says, Mama, I want to be a voice actor too. Can I take classes?
Yes.
I would love to be able to just say, hell yeah, or sorry, can't cuss.
Hell yeah.
Child.
Yes.
Heck yes, ma'am.
Oh, not to you.
Yeah, I know, right? Not to the
Not
baby.
me.
Yes. Not to the baby.
Yes, baby.
Yes. Yes, darling. Which classes? I would love to be able to, the way that my parents were putting me in extracurriculars, God bless them. Like, I want to do the same thing.
Yeah.
So that's one. I think the second most challenging part about being a creator who produces things, there's some people who things happen to, and there are some people who make things happen.
Yeah.
And I, for better or for worse, have been somebody who makes things happen. It's very effortful. I put out media. I was doing 3 to 5 videos a week, not even as much as some other creators. Some people tell you that they post a video a day.
Some of them were like 4 or 5 a day.
Yeah.
One girl was saying yesterday, I'm like, child.
In 2020 to 2021, the advice for TikTok, people were doing post 10 videos a day.
10 videos a day.
I'm like,
Ain't no way.
And I wasn't, and I refused. And so I did 3 to 5. I did that for a while. The most challenging part, especially as a comedy entrepreneur, is when funny is your job, how funny are you? When funny was something I did on the side, I felt like I was hilarious. And people tell me that, Joy, I'm cracking up. I can't. You're so funny, da-da-da. But I started to have, in the rut that I'm talking about, I went into a rut where I was like, now the joke determines my income. Now the joke determines my discoverability. Now the joke, so conscious of everything that I would put and how the algorithm would receive it, and every joke and every word and every caption and every hashtag and every. So that is the kind of preoccupation that I developed that is actually counter to like what I started doing and why I do it in the first place. So that's been the rut that I've kind of been working myself out of. I'll just say final challenge. When you start doing research to compare yourself to other creators or understand where you're positioned in the industry, you can become more of a consumer than a producer.
Woo, preach.
I went back to being a fan. I'm listening to this it's an amazing podcast, Colin and Samir. Great creator economy business podcast to learn what other creators are doing. But if every Tuesday or Wednesday or whatever, I'm glued to Colin and Samir and I'm listening to how other creators are building their business, and here's what Mr. Beast did today, and here's what she did, and this is how much money they got, and this is the deals that they're signing, and this is what they craft. I was doing more listening than actually producing my own stuff.
Come on.
You start watching Netflix, you go, okay, well, I want to make a show, and Issa, and this, and da-da-da, you start. It's like, yes, you can be inspired by these things, but you need to never forget to still be making, stay producing. So that is like my third and final challenge. And if you are a creator entrepreneur, please remember to like, no matter where you're at, no matter even if you're afraid of the joke, do it scared. Just like, don't stop producing just because you're researching what other folks have going on.
Yeah. And I also find that people tend to have analysis paralysis when they're researching.
That was it. I could do this. I could make money here. My revenue could increase by this. I could be on Amazon. I could be on LTK. I could I could drum up this. I could go to more conferences and events. I could speak on more stages. I could do voiceover. No, maybe I should focus on traditional acting. I should take the mocap class. I've always wanted to do mocap. Never done mocap. Ooh, okay. Oh, Sarah's doing fashion. I could do fashion. Should I partner with this fashion brand? But I want to pitch this Colgate toothpaste. Well, they got money over here. Well, I heard the Pinterest creator program is open. Literally, you would stay in bed, and I would. I would have days I'm just like in bed just thinking. And that's the beauty of what you buy yourself when you quit your job is you can really do that.
Yeah.
You can take a week to think.
Yeah.
But yeah, the paralysis, like, it'll keep you stuck.
The next question that I want to ask you is the responsibility we feel and the difficulties of being a Black creator.
Let's talk about this. I have many thoughts.
I tiptoe the line of the kind of content that I make.
Okay.
But it's authentically my thoughts. It is authentically what I feel. I don't post content that, like, my manager would be like, "Ooh, this is a great inspiration." And I'm like, "No, negative. This would be amazing if I know you'll never do it, but would you no. Could you no. This no." I'm very strategic about the kind of content that I make and that I message so that if my boys were to ever see it,
I see.
It's fine.
Yeah.
If my mom ever saw it, I'm probably pushing it a little too far.
But sure, the world.
I don't have daughters, but if I had a daughter and my nieces was to see this, is this empowering to them, especially as a Black woman?
Yes.
And then I decided to start Influence to Equity because I took notice that I was the only Black voice in the room. And sometimes I was the only woman, regardless of race, in the room. And the chances of being Black, a woman, and a Black woman in the room were 100% of the time I'm the only one in the room.
Sure.
And so it was important to me to have these conversations with creators and with entrepreneurs and with founders and startups, which I struggled with for a long time with Influence to Equity, if this was going to be a podcast or if anybody would care to hear what I had to say. But as I'm watching Influence to Equity itself grow, and the two brands are so different, but I'm getting comments from women and moms, and Black moms in particular, single moms, who are also commenting and DMing me about having this newfound relationship with being a creator and newfound empowerment of their finances and how they move and operate in their independence. But I said all that to say the thought of talking about money, the thought of talking about entrepreneurship, even though we are the most entrepreneurial and we open the most businesses and we're the most educated in the United States, but the deals that we're getting are less than our white counterparts.
Yeah.
We are not being negotiated as much, or there's typically a token one of us. And so it can lead to this crabs in a barrel mentality. But it's also very hard to navigate not only creatorship, or being a creator and being an entrepreneur as a Black woman in media. What are your thoughts on those challenges?
Glad you brought it up. It is our forever elephant in the room. I don't think that the lack of a presence of Black people somewhere, this isn't like traveling where you go, "Oh, there's no Black people over there, let me stay over here." It's I don't think that the lack of, and even Marty San Diego, she's going to disagree with me on that. What I'm trying to say is, I don't believe that the lack of presence of Black women in a space should deter us from entering a space. I never have. That's why I started in technology. When I spoke to someone who I think was it Armed Forces, and I was like, "Your industry, it can be so exclusionary." As I was talking about you must feel so alone. He's like, "Don't you in yours?" I was gagged. I was like, "Oop," so
crazy.
What we're thinking about other industries is also happening in ours, very much so. So yeah, we get less than 2% of funding when it comes to startups, tech startups, social startups. We have to live, we have to survive. And I believe that we have to really enjoy what we do and do what we love in order to survive. At the end of the day, and at the beginning of the day, we are in two different economies. I was one of the first creators online to start coining and talking about the Black creator economy as a term.
Yeah.
So whether other folks voiced it and just didn't put it into papers, whatever, but I wrote when I was in master's, I focused my thesis on the Black creator economy, foundation of the internet, and how it wasn't built for us or with us in mind. You can even look at Seeking Mavis Beacon as a documentary to Black folks' contribution and erasure when it comes to symbolism and internet presence and teaching the world how to engage with technology.
Black Twitter is a great film.
Black Twitter, People's History, the documentary from Prentice Penny is also, it's a perfect example. I can give you 50, right? We were a part of the building, but then we got kicked out of the executive positions and the boardrooms and the equity conversations and who's going to earn from this as it progresses. But then we hopped on all the apps and products and services and grew them. And then as we see Jelaya Harmon, Kabi Lamb, we're now some of the most followed or influential or profitable or marketable creators without making as much money, right? You look at the top 10 YouTubers, top 10 Instagrammers, top 10. We're present. Dwayne The Rock Johnson's a black man. The Rock's doing all right, but to take tokens and say that that reflects all of us is, it's like false equivalency. I have other thoughts. We're in two different economies. So like part of listening to Colin and Samir, and I gave this feedback to Colin and Samir. I don't know if I was really heard. I was heard by them, but I don't think it was actioned. And I could check in again to see like how they've been doing since I gave that feedback, as a few others agreed with me. But like the feedback for all is a white creator, and like creators like Fanita have tried to tackle this. Some people do it more gracefully than others. White creator earning multi-million dollars pretty much has nothing to do with me. It's something that I have resigned myself to. So I still imagine a profitable and equitable future for myself because it's the only thing that gets me out of bed. But these folks earning multi-millions on their deals and getting $50,000 hair and makeup and da-da-da. You ask La Roach, who's styled Celine Dion and Zendaya and every other. It's not fair all the way at the top. So I'm not going to expect that at the bottom that I'm going to receive fair treatment. I don't operate this with the assumption that I will be treated fairly, that I will be briefed in early, that I will be included deliberately. I don't operate with that assumption. And when you expect less, you're prepared to handle everything else. This doesn't mean I accept less. I said I expect less from them because that's the tradition of how this economy has been built in front. It wasn't to empower little girls like me. You look at like a Melody Hobson, Black woman over area investments. I think it manages $15 billion. And Melody grew up like less fortunate. She talked about growing up with her car repossessed, and very inspiring Black woman. There's a couple Melodies, there's a couple Sarahs, there's a couple Joys who are going to like further things in their industry. But for the vast majority of us, that's not going to be the case for a long time. I think that everything that I do in my mere existence and the existence and presence of my entertainment company in the space, like Issa's, like Sierra's, like Kelly Rowland's, like Janelle Monáe's Femme the Future, all of these presences will help to educate folks, will help to divert attention, divert funds towards our community, will help to further us financially, but it's going to be so slow. So I'm under no certain impression that Jessica Alba and myself, or I don't even want to like pull up names because it's not to demonize these folks. They're just benefiting from a privilege that wonderful creators who I've even had the chance to meet, Alex Cooper, right? Call her. I'm under no impression that she and I are in competition as podcasters. She's operating in this economy, and I operate, and I'm doing what I can to steward what I have in the Black creator economy. I hope to, and I believe that because of my talents and because of my belief in God, that I will thrive in my section of the Black creator economy. And this other economy will take notice of me. They will try to profit from me. They do offer me offers. They do bring me in. They do. And I welcome it. I welcome all business from everywhere. Then we make our own discernments to determine if it matches with my values. But I'm just under no certain impression that we're participating in that economy. And if you can give that up, I think you'll be a lot happier with what you have. I'm of an unpopular mindset, I think, as a business leader when it comes to that. Because if you follow like the Gary Vee school of thought, and I haven't checked it in a while, so like, please forgive my ignorance, but I think the Gary Vee school of thought will probably push you to be like, well, why can't you be like those guys? Well, why can't you earn billions of dollars? I don't need to do that to live I prioritize living a healthy life and being a healthy business leader and owner and having a fair business that treats my freelancers and my employees, including myself, well, that does important things in art and culture, that does things that are of note, that need to be said, that are novel and new and creative and interesting and entertaining and healing. That is way more important to me than earning hundreds of millions or billions of dollars. So I think I'm kind of unpopular in that way. That's fine. Like having an understanding and building a satisfaction with yourself as a Black woman leader in the economy of what is being offered to you, what isn't, and what isn't being offered to you, instead of coveting it and spending time coveting it, building whatever you can for yourself and those around you. That's my priority.
Joy, what's the future vision of your company and for you?
Yes, I'm really glad that you asked. The future vision of the company is to really, and I mean, it's like what we already are.
Yeah.
So it's to further what we are. It's a globally demanded entertainment company, original productions, right? So you've already seen Dating Unsettled. You've already seen Who Needs This and Joy's Fun Finds. If you're on YouTube, Joy's Real Life Vlogs. It's taking and formalizing and shoring up some of those entertainment properties that I already have, the intellectual properties that I have, continuing to sell, continuing to share. I've shared some with like other clients or on other platforms, partnered with Snapchat to bring Joy's Fun Finds to life. And like, that's been really fun. The future of it is you'll see more happening on, I wish I could say my company name. Y'all will see it soon. And if you meet me at a conference, I'm debuting it. So if you meet me in person, like just ask me, I'll tell you. But the vision of the company and what the company is doing is continuing to keep comedy at the core, continuing to heal people with these IPs and with these original productions, gathering in physical spaces, right? Because I know that based on what I've done with Unsettled and the tour that I've been on, a self-produced and international tour, Brooklyn, Los Angeles, Oakland, I stopped in Atlanta, LA, and I met unsettlers, or folks who listen to the Dating Unsettled podcast. The vision is to continue to gather and validate, like, so for people to feel seen, for people to together with their collective subconscious, these creative pleasure seekers and escape artists that I know are in my community, for us to build this mental escape together and participate in it and feed into it and build and produce art into it, and share and publish it with the world. I think that when we do this, we're creatively envisioning a future together where some of the things that afflict us cannot hold us back. So that's the future of the company. And I as a talent am rising, which is really exciting. So I'm continuing to get cast. I think you've seen me already in video games, stuff that you can buy in stores, stuff that you can order only online. You've heard me in music, like Wasteland. I'd love to do more albums. That's fun. I think when people think of like Shaquille O'Neal's side projects, that's what she would be thinking. For me, you'd be like, she's on which album? Is there what now? She did what? So more of that kind of serendipity with podcasts, my own podcast, and I have more scripted coming, maybe some more unscripted coming. So just more media from the company. With film and television in particular, I really I don't want to leave this earth before I have either, creative directed or exec producer or written or starred in my own animated feature film. Yes. There'll be animated shorts. I love the short form medium. I do. That's how I attracted millions of views. But I think an animated feature, I've now voiced in 2 to 3. So to do one with SAG-AFTRA, in our industry, something that people could, maybe go into a theater, right, and watch together, something that comes from my brain, that's in the future of the company. I don't know how near or how far that is, given, like I said, the different economies that we're all operating in. It could take some time before we get there, but that's certainly in the vision of the company. And then live action, folks can catch me. I've been auditioning. We've been putting myself forward. It's whatever folks have in store for me, but I really love animation as a medium. People always go, this is what's so funny. I love these animations you're doing in these animated shows. Maybe someday you'll get to do a live action film. I'm like, oh, well, thank you. I did do my first short film. I recently, I'm like, you could definitely catch me in live action, but I love animation as a medium. I'm happy.
So much money. It's animation.
And not just money, but the art. I love the art. But then they go, well, no, I know you do animated stuff and cartoons, but no. I really think someday you'll get to be, in a theater. I want to see your face.
The Simpsons has been around for 84,000
generations. It's one of the most important artistic products that we have. And so to me, I don't rank live action performance or being a series regular in person on a show above animation or above gaming or above all of these. And Adam W. kind of said it best, but all these mediums can really be seen as equal and as important and valid.
Yeah.
And so that's what you'll be seeing from the company.
Oh, I love it. Joy, where can the people find you?
The people can find me at joyofodu.com. You can send my team an email, bookjoyofodu@gmail.com. But online, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, all the things, Threads, at joyofodu, just my first and last name. And soon you'll start to see for the company. And go to datingunsettled.com. Yes.
We need all the things, Joy. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. You are such a joy. Oh, my word. This was an incredible conversation. I wish we keep going, but I know we have things to do and you have a flight to catch. But thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much for being here. You all, thank you so much for listening to this week's episode of Influence to Equity. This is Joy. And I'm Sarah. See you next week.
Oh my gosh. Bye-bye.